Hello my soul family, welcome to our spirituality retreat for this full moon in Sagittarius of December 2021. My name is Christy Ramirez and I'm a health and wellness expert, and I am owner of this body, mind and spirit health and wellness brand. This is a special event, the spirituality retreat, that I host twice a month for every new and full moon. It is a full event, meaning it is a two-part event. We begin with about an hour of a spiritual talk where we talk about the energies, what's coming in with this moon cycle, and then we end with a sound bowl healing session of like 10 to 15 minutes to not only seal the retreat and the energies that this moon is bringing, but also to cleanse our aura. It's like a little spiritual maintenance. It's very healing. And so I love coming up here on a monthly basis, and I am really looking forward to the energy of this full moon in Sagittarius, because guess what? This is also a solar eclipse that's coming in. Remember the last spirituality retreat we had with the new moon in Taurus, it was a lunar eclipse. So now that we have gone into the depths of our shadows, emotions, anything buried deep into our subconscious, because that's what the moon rules, we are now coming out into the light with the sun. We are feeling empowered as well to overcome those past traumas, those past pains that are holding us back from our happiness. This is a beautiful energy that this eclipse is bringing in. So let us begin with our spiritual talk today. Today we're going to cozy up by the fireplace. This is a special theme for the Christmas season. You can always count on me to make this the most glamorous season of the year, because I love Christmas. And this is going to bring a lot of spirit of joy. And also with this astrological placements that are occurring as well in the stars, it's also helping to bring in more of this joy. So this is good news. You know, I always come with good news, but I always also give the truth. And to be honest, you know, with this full moon in Sagittarius, I do feel like it's very positive energy, because we are again releasing, and perfect that I added now my fireplace, which is bringing in the fire, the passion, and the heat in order to burn away the old that's not serving us. It's actually feeling really heavy to carry. And this can be, you know, metaphorical, it could be literal. Remember, any healing that needs to take place in your body, the most superficial healing that needs to happen is physical. But anything that manifests physical is because it's already been something deeper. Okay, when it manifests physical, it's the last step in the manifestation. The first step is actually spiritual. That's like when any diseases, right, lack of ease in your body, if there's a misalignment spiritually, that's where it begins to manifest and to become something bigger. And then if it starts, oh, let me sip my coffee here. If it starts, then this spiritual misalignment is going to lead you to emotionally be unstable, emotionally act out, and emotionally misbehave, right? And this will lead to mental instability, mental turbulence, mental disturbances, and even mental illness, you can say, right? But again, it's more like mental health issues, and it always stems back to spiritual alignment. That's me as a psychologist. I'm telling you this from experience. Seeing my clients, it always comes down to something spiritual. That is my strong belief, which is why I don't go by the book when it comes to psychology. I don't really necessarily even like to diagnose clients, because I know that there's something more spiritually deeper happening, and this is the reason. And then if it manifests physical, it's because it's been ruminating in your emotional body and your mental body for quite some time, that your body can't take it anymore, and now it's trying to purge it out in a way. So symptoms are actually helpers because they're trying to give us warning signs about something that's happening deeper in our body. And I think that this is really coming up, actually our state of health and wellness, because guess what? With this beginning of December, we are only a month away of the New Year's, and this is where people start to bring in their New Year resolutions, their health and wellness goals, and this is a big part of it, that you understand the deeper picture, that it's not only physical. If you're, like, let's say, dealing with weight issues, or you're dealing with actual physical symptoms, manifesting like anxiety or skin issues, or just lack of like ease, like you just feel disturbed, or if you're like your mood is affected, or I was gonna say if you're actually dealing with an illness, something that's manifested into something illness, then we need to look deeper. And this is part of what I believe of holistic medicine. I wrote a whole article on this in my health and wellness blog, so if you want access to that entire blog that I wrote based on research and a book that we were reading in my holistic nutrition lectures, you can get access to both by being a member of my holistic nutrition series to watch all my lectures in video format as a teaching class, but I make it very, very entertaining, interactive as well. And then I write the blogs based on those lectures, so that if you don't want to watch the actual lecture, you can just read the article with the conclusions that we came up with. And that's one of the ones that I dedicated a whole class to, was holistic medicine. Medicine needs to be holistic for it to be effective, right? And I know that a lot of now in the medicine world, more Western medicine is very much more based on laboratory science, on factual thinking, intellectuality, but there's something much more that goes deeper than that, right? Let us take examples. Let's say that you are dealing with weight issues, which many people now in the American culture deal with, right? Because of the fast food available, lack of exercise, increase in stress, and having other priorities other than their health and their wellness. I have a true, belief that, of course, all of these different lifestyle habits will affect your weight, but it can also be emotional, believe it or not. If you're holding on to emotional burdens or emotional pain, heartbreaks, all of this will manifest physically into physical weight, because this weight is trying to protect you from more hurt in the future. And especially if you're an empath, and this is where the spiritual nature comes in. If you're an empath as well, and you don't know, for example, how to protect yourself or how to get in your spiritual alignment, and we do this with spiritual practice, which is meditation and yoga, which I also teach with my health and wellness brand. This is why I created this brand, because not only am I a very spiritual person, but health and wellness is a part of me. And I wish to bestow that upon you, because it's going to also help you with your soul evolution. It's a hand-in-hand journey. And so our spiritual practice serves that purpose, to keep us in spiritual alignment. And of course, eating holistic nutrition foods, right? Every day. Doesn't matter if you're having like a treat meal or anything like that. For the majority, it should be clean food. Food from nature. Food that you can actually cook and you can find in Mother Gaia, right? If you don't find it in Mother Gaia, chances that it was made in a laboratory, is loaded with chemicals, and all of that is going to affect your aura, your vibration, and your health from the inside out. Because that's what we're here to do. We're here to heal from the inside out, not from the outside in. Because remember, it doesn't matter even how healthy you look on the outside, right? Take people who are very athletic or fit. They can be looking very, very healthy on the outside, but internally they could be very, very messed up or unhealthy. And I've seen this. A good example is people with liver issues. That actually you can't really tell on the outside. And liver issues, ironically, also is something that I teach with my chakra book that I'm writing. If anybody actually is dealing with liver issues, first of all, of course, it can be the foods that you're eating, because remember, your liver is what detoxifies your organs, your whole body. It's like your whole system needs your liver, because it's the detoxification system in your body. So if that's malfunctioning, it will affect all your other systems, first of all. But according to chakras and also Chinese medicine and Chinese chakra system, they believe that any liver issues manifesting physically actually stem from anger. So if you're dealing with anger issues, that can manifest as liver issues. And of course, it can also be vice versa, but it's very rare, right? Sometimes actual physical diseases manifest as like emotional or mental symptoms, right? So like if you're dealing with a liver symptom or liver issues because maybe you're like a smoker, or maybe you eat very unhealthy, or you drink a lot of alcohol, which creates liver issues, right? You're loading your body with toxins that it's like overloaded your liver that it can't detoxify. And we need to remember that our liver is a very small organ compared to all our other body, especially our digestive system. So, and imagine our I know a lot about anatomy because this is what I'm also teaching in the Science of Yoga Master Course, and something that I'm very interested in and when it comes to yoga. So I've had to learn anatomy at this deep level. But think about it, you know, our digestive system is made of the small intestine and the large intestine. And the largest intestine is the second largest organ in the body. The first one is the skin. So that's why our skin is like the purification organ in our body. It's the purging organ. So if you're purging through your skin, let it be, because that's cleansing from the inside out. And that's something that you can experience if you're, you know, beginning your purification or any purging that you're doing in your body, right? Whether it's spiritually or actually physically. And so imagine if you're overloading your body with toxins on top of toxins, and this can be anything, even chemically based foods, then your liver's not going to have a chance to detoxify. And that can create anger, right? Because our liver is associated with the emotion of anger in Chinese medicine. And it can also create a lot of heat in your body, and of course it can create digestive symptoms like IBS, you know, just issues digesting your food. And so it's very problematic, because this is just one example, but there's many other organs related to different emotions, right? Like sadness, elation or joy, right? That's when all your organs are functioning well. And so I think that this is definitely related, because with this full moon in Sagittarius, and especially with the solar eclipse, we are being called to take a look at our internal health, right? Physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, all levels of our health, because this is going to affect our quality of life, and especially as we step into this new year of 2022. And of course, I'll be doing a special spirituality retreat for the new year, as I always do every year, and also the special meditation in my meditation series. Last year we did a shamanic journey, and I think I'm going to be doing that again this year, because I think that's a good New Year's ritual, you know, to bring in our spirit power animals and help us to journey within, and then go into the deep realms of these other dimensions and help us to see where we can change and improve our life, so that we may step into this new year knowing what action steps to take. And I feel like that's a guidance as well starting today, because we should be starting already to do this reflection and this deep journaling. I feel like December, because it's the closing month of the year, it's like a review time, a life review time, so that before we step into the new year, you don't want to procrastinate and then have to do all the review like right before New Year's. You want to be setting your intentions for the new year by the end of this month. So by the next new moon, that is going to be, we're going to have a new moon next in 2 weeks. So this full moon, which is the beginning of December, literally the first week of December, you are to begin to do your life review your year, your last year's New Year resolutions. You know, I have a lot of journals, you know, you already know that I love journaling, and so because each one has a different purpose. I have one for my personal life, one for my business, and so all of my journals, I bought certain journals that have like questions, and as well as my gratitude and spiritual guidance journal, I also do reflection and review for the end of every month, and also at the beginning and end of the year. So it's kind of like I have a little bit of journaling homework to do, and I think that you all should do this as well. And if you don't have any journals that you started this year, then this can be a great new habit to begin. And of course, make sure to purchase my new 2022 spiritual guidance and gratitude journal, the Metamorphosis, which we'll be releasing soon. I'll be making a special post on that, but you can always go to christianburns.com/shop to take a look at all my books and journals. Everything is always posted there. And so I think that's very powerful for today. Thank you, God. Alright, so I do have some Christmas decks that we're going to be using for our oracle reading. But I feel like we could still talk a little bit. You know, I have all afternoon just to focus on this today. And I think that that's a guidance with the full moon in Sag, because, you know, think about it. Sagittarius is the archer in the zodiac signs, right? And it's always aiming at different things to do because it loves adventure, it loves exploring, and is even like the traveler. So people who love to travel is usually ruled by some aspect of Sagittarius. And we are in Sagittarius season as well. Jesus was a Sagittarius, he was born in Sagittarius season. Sagittarius energy is also very humanitarian, loves to give, to be of service to the collective. So this is something that we're definitely always being guided to be on service, on mission. But I'm also getting the message that it's important that we focus on a few things, not overload our bucket list, our even New Year resolutions, are things to do for the day, because it's about also being in the moment, right? Simplifying our life and enjoying the simple things. And with Sagittarius, you know, if it's out of control, it can definitely get overwhelmed and then have lack of focus and be all around. And that's kind of like I want to say the downfall of Sagittarius energy, is that it's like, it's undecided. It's very flaky. What is that word? It's very fickle, right? Which can be, you know, also a person when it comes to love and dating, fickle love, right? Not really knowing, but then just going after it, leading someone on, and not really in your heart really being sure, but you're still leading them on just in case. And that's fickle energy, and that's not good, right? That's not good karma, and that's not good because you're only delaying something that's true. And I feel like that is coming up because that's kind of like the player energy that comes up with the downfall of Sagittarius. But if we're to bring in the positive aspect of Sagittarius, which I just mentioned, the humanitarian aspect, the being more like Jesus, the Christ in us, right? That's why Jesus was so loving and giving and all about unconditional love. And he was, what is that word? A mission. It brings in this missionary energy, right? Because Jesus was a missionary. He would walk around the world, because back in the day there wasn't that much travel, right? So he would walk to different towns, you can say, and spread the word of God. That's what being a missionary is, and that's what also being a light worker is going about out in the world and spreading this word of God by being the light, right? And this is definitely a call to all light workers, is to definitely share your light. Step out into the world and share it. Speak your truth, and teach others, lead and guide others towards the path to love and to light. Because I feel like a lot of people in the collective have definitely lost their way. And of course, with all this fear mongering, you can say, in the world, with good reason, right? Because they have no guidance. And that's the issue actually with society. I feel like a lot of people really don't, you know, intend to be on the wrong path. And I think about, you know, back in the day, when even before, like let's bring in the example of the Americans back in the day. They didn't know what their rights were, and that's why Thomas Jefferson wrote the U.S. Constitution and the amendments, right? Because he wanted to clarify to these American citizens what their rights were, like the right to speech, the right to freedom, things that they were not aware of. Because guess what? Most of the population was illiterate, which meant they couldn't read, they didn't have an education, and they didn't bother with really any knowledge. They didn't want to really know anything because they lived a simple life. The commoners back in the day lived a very simple life. Even back in the day when there was kingdoms, you know, the kings and the queens and the castle and the kingdom inside, they were very educated. But the people outside the castle was the majority, and they were uneducated, and they were actually poor. And Jesus was born in the poor civilization, you can say, but he got his knowledge from source, right, which was from God his Father. And this is where us light workers get our information as well. But of course, he was also the exception, right? Because he wasn't just a regular human. He was the Messiah, a chosen one. But he was raised like a human. So there's a lot to learn from him. And not to feel like it's far-fetched and out of reach for us, because he was just like us, and he felt everything as a human would. He had emotions as well. He became attached to the humans in this world, and it really pained him that they turned against him, right? And that they ended up betraying him. And many people just ended up betraying him because they were afraid and they didn't know any better. And that's what I'm trying to say. It's like, if you know truth, if you have knowledge, share it. Because there's actually a lot of people that literally don't know any better. And we could do the world a big service by spreading more of this knowledge, so that people can start, should I say humanity can start to grow up and evolve. And this will fulfill the cosmic mission, which is all of us to be able to ascend into higher dimensions, higher consciousness. That's the whole reason why we're here. And we will aid in this process by helping from the inside out. And that's the purpose of light workers. And so I'm getting the message that with the Sagittarius energy, it's really going to thrust into this new year light workers to come out of their shell, to come out of their cave, their hermit mode. Because I can tell you, as a light worker myself, the true light workers of the light have actually been in hiding. And it's been sometimes actually like out of our control, you can say, because it's been for safety and protection reasons, because of what's happening energetically more than anything out in the world, more than even politically or government wise. We already know all that drama that's happening, but there's also been spiritual battles that's been occurring behind the scenes, and it's manifesting not only physically but even in other ways that we can't even see, right, ethereally. And so the light workers have been shielded because obviously they are the beacon, the light workers, the lighthouse. They are the ones that come out with the information. Usually light workers do speak, like myself, are speakers. And we are usually needed to be kind of secluded, even in isolation, not for any specific reason, but for the reason of enlightenment, which is a huge reason. But not because, people are bad or anything, or, there's a reason and a place for everything. There's a reason when to come out and when to stay in, right? And this is definitely something that's coming up with Sagittarius, which I feel like is going to bring into the whole next year, 2022 specifically, because in my Lightworker University, I did say that this next year is going to be about the spiritual mission. And I did say that the spiritual mission can't be done alone. So there's going to need to be collaborations, people involved in this mission. Of course, everyone on the same page, everyone on the same frequency, on the same vibration, because there's no other way. It will not be a match made in heaven. God is already bringing in these matches made in heaven together behind the scenes as well. This is all happening already, and it will be manifesting towards the closer we reach the new year, especially towards the next year. So, and it will be solid as well, official, you can say. So this is definitely big energy with this full moon in Sagittarius, because I feel like there are also major closings of like a huge chapter, and there's something astrologically as well that is very important to talk about today. There's a 19-year cycle that we are closing off right now. This 19-year cycle has begun in 2002 and has ended now 2021. And I'm not quite sure the transit that it is exactly. I think it's something with Uranus and Taurus being direct, right? It was in retrograde all this time. And this is a 19-year cycle. This is a long time, and especially if you're young like me, that's more than half my life, right? So if you've been experiencing karmic cycles after karmic cycles, karmic lessons, again, this is where traumas and repetitions of these traumas, which is called vicarious trauma, right? When they keep repeating themselves, there's something psychology here. This is what's been happening in our personal lives, and which is why we're at this point right now that we feel like we can't go on anymore. And this actually have some people experience depression even because they haven't been coping with it, or maybe they just don't understand the deeper spiritual meaning. But when you dissect all these experiences the way that I'm speaking to you right now, and something of course that we can do definitely more personally in a soul coaching session, when I can help you individually with your life, being able to interpret the lessons, because that's what it is about, right? If you don't interpret the lessons correctly, guess what? You're going to repeat the same lesson with a different face. And that's the saddest story you can ever experience. That's a waste of your life. And this is why we are learning definitely solidly what we learned hardcore, basically like the hard way. It's like tough love in a way from the universe, and not so much from God, because it's not like God bestows these lessons with like an intention of hurting us. On the contrary, it's only to make us stronger and wiser. And he's wanting us to pass the test. He's wanting us to see through the great big illusion, because this grand illusion that we're needing to remove the veil from and see with clarity is being revealed to us with this full moon, right? Because remember, when we enter a new moon, this has been building up since this past new moon in Taurus. That's just what I'm getting. Because the new moon in Taurus, we don't see a new moon in the sky. The new moon is absolutely black, right? It's like, it's a new moon that's gonna start to build. And with the full moon, you can see it bright in the sky. It's like the only thing that you can notice. And it's like these are truths that are going to be in your face that you cannot escape anymore, basically. So this is good, because it's going to help us to make these hard decisions that we've been back and forth with. Anything that you've been at a crossroads about, you're going to get the answer by this full moon. And this full moon and solar eclipse is coming in today, Friday, into tomorrow, Saturday. So it's very big, and it's very good, because it's going to help us to start December on a very bright attitude and new fresh slate that's going to help us to start building and preparing for this new year, which is going to be a different vibration completely, something brand new, and it's going to be of light. We've all been in the dark, everybody, even the light workers, because being in hermit mode and isolation is not all so happy all the time, right? It can be very lonely, and even though we're never alone, our angels surround us, God is always with us, we know that, right? Our ancestors, our spirit guides, we all still need connection. So it's been a dark period for all of us, for all light workers, and for everyone who's perhaps lost their way as well, even more, right? Because they've been experiencing hard karmic lessons, right? It's like, it's just the repercussions, right? The cause and effect. But for us light workers, it's just like we've just been waiting and waiting. When is this new beginning gonna come? When is this happiness and joy, true love gonna finally come, right? Because when you're awake, that's the thing about being awake and then being asleep on your journey, which is why this coming year I'm going to start working on a new book, which I have mentioned last year that I was going to do, which it was inspired to me as my muse, what happened 2020. 2020 is like my muse for that book, The Spiritual Awakening, teaching you all about the spiritual awakening, what you can expect to experience, and how it's going to propel you deeper into the whole journey of your next life, right? Of this whole entire life ahead of you after the awakening. And so what I was gonna say is that as light workers, sometimes it's like a blessing. It is always a blessing, right? But it can be very difficult to sometimes accept the truth, because sometimes we see the truth and we escape situations that might be tempting, right? And we might want to engage even though we know it's not for our higher good. This is just simple human temptations that all of us undergo. But the only difference is that people who are asleep don't really get it, and they will just go for what feels good in that moment, not really caring what the long-term repercussion is or how it's going to affect them spiritually or throw them off their soul path, right? Whereas us light workers, it's difficult because we see the temptation there, and we're not necessarily tempted because we already know the truth, and we're very already solid in our spiritual journey and our mission. But it's just frustrating and annoying, I can say. I want to say the word annoying, because it's like, it's annoying because we know that it's not the best for us, and the only way that's safe sometimes is actually being stuck to ourselves, like being to ourselves, which again brings in this loneliness. So what I'm feeling for this year 2022 as a reward for light workers, especially on their mission already, because it's needed for the spiritual mission, and because the theme for 2022 is about spiritual mission, there's going to be new partnerships coming together, business partnerships, friendships, actual love romantic partnerships as well, that have to be on the same mission though, because the center focus of this year is next year is going to be the mission first, the mission everything. So even your family relationships, they're going to be revolved around the mission as well. Family businesses can also be something that's going to start to build, if that's something that resonates with you and your family is awoken to as well. Maybe you were that light in that family, and now maybe they are wanting to participate now and also wanting to be part of this project, because this is something bigger than us, right? This is not a self project. This is something huge. It's revolutionary. It's for the world. It's for generations ahead. It's a legacy. And this is what's coming with 2022. It's very exciting. I'm very much looking forward to it because it's about time. We've been putting a lot of practice. We've been doing our own mastering of our craft behind the scenes. And now we're ready to come together, like-minded individuals, souls that think alike, that are on the same page. And we're going to make it happen now. This is now about anchoring these visions that we've been having. So this is beautiful, beautiful, beautiful energy coming in with this full moon in Sagittarius. And I also I just got a metaphor that is so funny. All right, so the metaphor that I wanted to come up in the last episode that I filmed for my School of Light for Kids, we are reading right now the Harry Potter series. And it's very interesting because in the last episode, they mentioned the centaur. And the centaur is basically the zodiac sign for Sagittarius, half human, half horse. And the legend behind why that centaur became a centaur, it was actually a curse. And the reason is because humans who killed hunting unicorns, they were cursed for life, because unicorns, which are mythical creatures, right, that live in a higher dimension, which it was said to believe to actually have lived among us of humans. That's part of the legend. But they disappeared to protect themselves because they were being endangered, they were being hunted by humans, right? That's kind of like the myth and the legend. And so if you were to kill or even hurt a unicorn, which was the purest of all creatures in the forest, right? It has a acorn on its third eye. It's magical. It's all rainbows. It is pure. It's so white and pure, angelic even. And if basically you were to mess with that unicorn by hurting it or actually killing and hunting it, then that person was said to be cursed and become half human, half horse. Hence why their legs and their arms, they had the bottom half was a horse and the top remained the human. That was a curse, right? Because obviously nobody wants to be a two-part being. And so I think that that's kind of like interesting that that's coming through, because remember, unicorns, we can also be representative of unicorns. Us light workers who are very angelic, earth angels is what we're called. And we do mission work here. We're literally really loving souls, and all we want to do is help. And if there's any malicious energy, you can say, or anything that's been done intentionally, this is divine justice that always comes through. This is judgment day that is coming through as well with the birth of Jesus. Remember that the birth of Jesus was the first coming of Christ. The second coming of Christ, as it's prophesied in the book of Revelations, is to come sooner rather than later. This is something that is actually more, I guess, something that I've done in my own private research, but I was really interested in the book of Revelations. What kind of inspired me to start my Bible study class as well in my School of Light, which you can also be a member, christianmers.com/school, to have access to those series. But Isaac Newton, he was a scientist, physicist, and something that he kept secret was that he was actually very obsessed with decoding the Bible, especially the book of Revelations, because he was trying to decode some puzzle piece here about the end of the world, the apocalypse, right? And he did solve that. He did solve that puzzle by the end of his life. And what he prophesied that he had decoded from everything in that book was that the end of the world was going to be around 2067. And that's not really far off, right? That's only like 40 something years ahead of us, right? And this is always metaphorical, okay? Don't take everything so literal when it comes to the Bible. It's not like the world's gonna like, you know, just disappear and like, you know, destroy itself. Although this is something that in ancient civilizations that we're also studying in my School of Light, like the ancient Atlantis civilization, it was said in the myth that Atlantis inhabited another planet that got destroyed because of their greed, their misuse of power, knowledge, and even technology. Because they had reached the highest of the highest consciousness, and they misused that power, and they let it get to them, right? And so they traveled, they moved to Earth basically, and then that's when the new civilization of the Lemurians came in, when they started mingling with the humans. That's kind of like the myth there. And so what I'm trying to say is that the second coming of Christ is what he was prophesying was going to come in like 2067, the second judgment day. And there's a powerful painting that I have in my mind that's also by Leonardo da Vinci. And Leonardo da Vinci, right? I think he did it. And it's very interesting because this is coming, not now, but like maybe later down the years. But this is something that we're preparing for. And we are always to live our life as if it's judgment day today. That's kind of like the lesson of the story, the moral of the story today. We are always to live as if it's judgment day, because we never know when the last day of our life is going to be. And that's when our own individual judgment day really is. It has nothing to do when Christ is going to come back, right? Because you might not be alive to see it, or you might, right? Depending on how old you are. So the point of the story is that we are always to live as good souls, because this is what this journey is about. Life is about the soul journey. Don't get mistaken and confused with the material glamour, with social status, with public, just distractions that really have no point. And unless it's something that spiritually based, like you're trying to teach something spiritual, right? And you're trying to guide people towards the light, then if it's not that, then what are you doing basically, right? Or maybe it's a call to realign your values, your belief system as well, and how you live your life, why you're living your life, your philosophy for life. That's a huge one that's coming up, because actually Sagittarius also rules that. I think Sagittarius rules the 7th house, I'm pretty quite sure, which is about humanitarian energy, but it's also like the philosopher. I'm thinking 11th house even, like the teacher, the spiritual teacher. What is your philosophy for life? People have different philosophies, and guess what? Your philosophy for life is what guides your actions in this life. So that's what you need to really take a look at. And if you're to accept people in your life, whether it's as friends, whether it's a partner especially, you need to take a look at their belief system and their philosophy for life, because that's going to tell you who they really are and how they're going to behave around you. And maybe not in the beginning, right? Because in the beginning everybody puts their best face, but what about down the line in the future? And that's what the important part is, because all of us here are here to set long-term relationships, long-term mission work, right? We're not doing something temporarily. This is something for the long haul. If you're doing something for a temporary moment, then you're wasting your time. And this is a call to action to change, because whatever it is that you're doing on a daily basis right now, you're building your legacy, and this takes time. This is a whole life work. So you should be on it already. There's no, when am I going to get onto this new ship? When am I going to get on that train? It's already begun. And if you're not here on the train, then you've missed basically your chance to jump on the train. And I feel like this is the last minute call, because Christmas does bring like that train. I'm thinking like the Polar Express, right? The Harry Potter Express as well, taking them to Hogwarts. This is literally your last moment to get on this train to the true success, to the true soul evolution of your journey, and experience the wonders that this new magical higher realm is going to bring to us. Open our eyes to about what's possible, miracles coming in. Because in order to experience miracles, guess what? You need to be vibrating at a higher frequency. There's just no other way down there. You need to be up here. And so that's definitely a guidance for all of us today. Very beautiful. Thank you, God. I do think it's time now to bring in an oracle reading. There is a lot of gifts coming up for the season, especially for those who have been good, right? It's kind of like Santa is asking us, have you been naughty or nice? And depending on that answer, obviously it's going to depend what side of the list you're on, and if you're going to get your gifts or not. You might not get like a punishment per se, because Santa doesn't punish. He just doesn't give a gifts to the naughties. They just have to wait till next year. They have to pay their debts and just wait for them to make their amends, atonement, which is, guess what, A Course in Miracles teaches us. And if this is you on the naughty list, you can say, take a look at that series in my School of Light. In my spiritual book club, we've read A Course in Miracles. This winter season, we're also going to begin the daily lessons to help us with application of those teachings that we've learned, help us to apply it into our day-to-day life. That's very important, because it's not enough to just learn the lesson. We need to know how to apply it, right? And kind of like put it into different kind of situations, like case studies, you can say, which is something fun that we can do. And so that's a huge guidance for all of us. And if you've been nice on your journey, keep doing what you're doing, keep showing up. And maybe this is just a bigger call for you to just be more involved now and engaged in your mission than ever. So, you know, I just want to kind of say that being a light worker and being on your mission and a missionary is no easy task. Trust me that this is a 24/7 job. It's not something that you just do 9 to 6 p.m. every day and then, you know, close out your day of work. It's not like that. This is a 24/7 job. Not only because there's endless work to do, but because we are also living examples and we need to be role models of what we're preaching. And this takes work and effort, right? This takes discernment. This takes constraint, self-control, discipline, diligence to stay committed to God first. And this is what we're being really called to do. So I think that's enough talking. Let's get some readings in today. Alright, so I'm going to do actually something different. I'm actually going to lay down here on my rug a little closer to my Christmas tree. We're going to do our spread of reading. So I'm going to do like a very lengthy spread. And we're also going to do our Sambo healing session down here. So I think that's going to be more comfortable for all of us. So I'll be preparing and I'll see you just in a few. Alright, so here we have a little closer view of my Christmas tree that I prepared for all of us. Super cozy here. So let's get started with our reading. I'm going to bring in my Christmas tarot here. This is Ghost of Past, Present, and Future. So I have a special Christmas series here that we're going to use, and I think that this one's only the major arcana, and it basically gives us truths about things that's haunting us from our past and affecting definitely our present and then hence our future, right? Because what we do in our present moment will affect our future. So let's definitely get some guidance with this full moon in Sagittarius. And right away we got kind of a few cards. So let's see how we can, wow. This is kind of like the culprit here. There's the devil here, which is the temptations, but it says entrapment as well. Where are you trapping yourself because of these temptations in life? So if you're feeling stuck, because this Santa hat actually looks like it's stuck in a drawer, and it's like fear. And what's going to get you out of this fear is actually hope. This is the shining star that led the Magi to the birth of Jesus. Climbing the stairs of ascension, our soul journey. The star card is also purification, which we did say, purging, cleansing, detoxing emotionally as well from everything that's not serving you. All energies that are not yours. Let's look it up on the booklet. Let's really go deep into these meanings here today. You're in the wrong. Do right by yourself and others now. And this is integrity. You know, I looked up the devil here, and this is actually one theme that came up for one of the Advent messages. Something that if you want to check out, I did a special free series on my IGTV of my main soul coaching page, which is @Christopher_soul coaching. And if you click on my IGTV, there's 25 days till Christmas Advent messages. And in the future, in one of these future days, because I've filmed half of it already, integrity came up as a guidance, because these are guidances in order for us to take steps now to live a high vibrational new life in 2022. So there's something here that you're in the wrong about. So let's read a little bit more deeply into this. So the key word is entrapment. So I want you to all reflect on today's reading. Let's take this like a little therapy session, a little psychology session, because this is how I actually do sometimes my readings. And with my clients, I don't do readings. Obviously, I use more of my psychology background. But I feel like when we do these fun oracle readings with our angels here today and with God giving us this guidance, I like to bring in, and it's like a healing therapy session. It really is, because we're getting guidance from above, right? And this is what my daily morning spiritual guidance videos in my spiritual counseling TV network are about. They're going to resume starting this new year. So definitely check that out. Be a member of my spiritual counseling TV network. So let's read. Not usually a good card, it says. The devil indicates a trap. Where are you trapping yourself, or where are you stepping into a trap? And one that is not easily maneuvered, because there could be manipulation, there could be confusion as well. Remember that when you're not solid in your truth, the opposite of that is confusion. And even A Course in Miracles teaches us that. The opposite of knowingness, so knowing your truth, is assumption, is assuming. And that's not very stable, right? Because there's no truth in that. It's in the air. You're not quite sure. So this is part of the trap. The worst of it is that you've already probably seen the trap. Again, past traumas, karmic lessons, manifesting similarly again to test you more than anything. But now with this close of this 19-year astrological cycle that we are ending, it's being called to take a look, because you don't want to repeat this for the next 19 years, okay? This is what's coming. This new beginning is for the next 19 years. So ask yourself how old you are, and ask yourself if you want to keep repeating what you've been repeating these past 19 years. Now, it can also be a positive thing, because whatever you've been working on, you know, I feel like this is something that in my life it will mostly apply, and maybe for you as well who are in mission. Maybe skills that you've been mastering these past 19 years, things that you've learned. You know, I kind of get like this quote, you can say, you know, I've been training and preparing for this my entire life. And this is literally how I feel in my life, being in this point in my life. All these past 19 years have brought me to this point. Obviously, that's what life's about, right? But you need to look more closely, like spiritually. It's like a spiritual thing that you really have to go really closely and start to read between the lines, between those lessons, those experiences. And that's where true reflection happens, okay? So this is where I teach my clients that true reflection is much deeper than you think. It requires like literally like brains dissecting all your experiences and then going in between different timelines, bringing it together, starting to see kind of like similar patterns, similar lessons. How did they differ though? Giving you clues as to what you're experiencing now and how that can help you better make decisions in the now, make wiser decisions. This is how it all works, okay? So thank you. It says also, you've already probably seen the trap, have stepped into it, and cannot see a way out. But there is always a way out, right? You've lost your belief in yourself. Even if there is a way out, a small one to be sure, right? Because usually the way out is not going to be so in your face. That's part of kind of like the challenge in life, right? Think of the challenge. Think of like in Harry Potter as well, when they were challenged. It's not going to be easy, but you can overcome it, because God wouldn't give you anything that you can't overcome. And even if there is a way out, someone who's very pessimistic, they won't believe that it's even for them. The old Murphy's Law statement, if something can go wrong, it will. That's very pessimistic, right? And that's the law of attraction. And this is actually the mantra for the devil, because that's what the ego, which is ruled by the devil, wants to make you believe, that you can't get better, that there is no way out, that it's not possible for you, that miracles are not true, right? And that's the opposite of our higher self. So broken promises steal your resolve. Get out while you still can, if you still can. So this is definitely a huge guidance, where you need to get out of your life. Now the coal is the gift that this card brings, because all of these bring a gift. And of course it comes up with like the law of karma. The Italian witch La Befana and Austria's Krampus both have the same rumblings of creation regarding the giving of coal at Christmas. Do bad, get bad, right? Then enjoy coal in your stocking. This goes way back, and parents for many moons have used the stories that they hope to bring a child to do good throughout the year as like an incentive. The connection to the devil card is merely the knowledge that traps you lay for others could be hidden throughout your time here, and then you may eventually step into them yourself. So let's look at the past, present, and future of what this card is teaching us today. In the past, okay, now you've done it, was that quicksand that you stepped into. So take a look at past situations. Where did you literally step into a quicksand where there was no way out? You got sucked into a drama, a chaos. Whatever it was, something has happened of your own making, most likely, because you were the one that made the decision, right? We are all having free will to do whatever we think is right, and that you are horrified by, or at the very least guilty of. So what are you guilty of in the past? Nothing to do now, but take your lumps and see what happens. It's okay, not everyone drowns. Start over with better thinking next time. This is our guidance. You have a new chance to start anew. a fresh new beginning, a fresh second chance, new opportunity to do good this time. So in the present moment, you're digging a deep hole and the rain is filling it up with you inside. Look around quickly and make whatever decision you can to get out of the predicament without hurting someone else. As soon as you drag someone down with you, the ante is upped in the negative. You already have enough problems, so be smart and think again. Don't get yourself involved in problems that not only don't serve you, but that you don't have time for, right? Literally. So be smart. And in the future, there's nothing to do except get up and dust yourself off. Get up and move on from whatever happened in the past. Make amends to anyone you've damaged with your poor decisions. Like I said, everyone makes mistakes, but this one will be a doozy if you don't wake up to the consequences of your wrong thinking or doing. If you make the same mistake twice, it's no longer a mistake, right? It's unintentional doing that needs to definitely now be made amended even more. It's more difficult to get out of that kind of karma. So this is a powerful card for us today. And then 17 card, which is the Star card. And the ones in reverse, we got the Hanged in reverse. No longer time to get hanged, to be paused when it comes to love. We got the Lovers card in reverse, Judgment Day in reverse, and the World card in reverse. So this is what's coming, but you need to make a decision. This Hanged card is the Crossroads card. Crossroads. So this is a guidance. You need to make a decision if you want love in your life, or be doing something that you love and have the world at your fingertips and experience good outcomes, positive outcomes, which is what this Judgment card rules. You need to experience this new completion to be able to experience the new life ahead of you. And there is hope for this new world, this new life. Okay, so this Hope card, number 17, that might be a significant number for some of you in numerology, and it's the keyword of hope. It may be a surprise to you, but you are seen by those around you as a rising star. Could be emotionally or because of the positive direction that you are always heading. You are growing and living up to your highest goals, and you certainly know what you're talking about. It is your time, that's right. So walk the walk, star child. This is the guidance for all of us, like I said right now in the spiritual talk. As light workers, we need to walk the walk. Live by what we preach, right? So Christmas star is the symbol that brings to us, you see, we see the Christmas star here. Most people think of the star of Bethlehem when this Christmas star is mentioned. It acted, and you can see it in my nativity, it acted as a guide to wise men who were to witness a spectacular event. So something is like brewing, something of a special event. Obviously, this is our future that there's hope for, right? Others still feel the star connection, however, because the skies and the bodies within are there for all of us to draw faith from. And that was actually today's Advent message for day 3. It was have faith. Have faith in your future. Keep the hope alive, because without hope, you don't want to let these dreams die. Hope is what keeps you going. And I know it sounds cliche, but you know what? It's the only way. That's what led the magicians to Jesus. They had hope that the star was going to lead them on the right path, that it was going to lead them straight to baby Jesus, and it did on Christmas Day. So in the past, you came, you saw, you conquered. Yes, you were the shining light within your soul, and for those around you as well. Now eventually though, you knew you would move along and would need a sturdy rope to pull the star along with you. So in whatever way that means to you, maybe you felt like you couldn't go anymore. Maybe the struggle to become a star was real, right? Present, bask in the light, celebrate, give thanks. You know what you want, are close to getting it, or you may already have recently been blessed. Okay, these are these gifts that are coming to us, or have charted your course. Maybe they've already crossed your path. Keep on the same track, follow your stars. So you're on the right track if you are being blessed, basically. Okay, that's our guidance. If we're being blessed and we're experiencing great things, that means we're doing something right? And if not, then this just means that you need to change something. So in your future, your star is always with you, deep inside your soul, reminding you that this decision was the right one. and you are heading in the right direction. You've come a long way to find yourself here, not just with one star, but many. So smile. Life will be good for some time to come. There is good coming into the future, whatever you might be experiencing right now. So the Christmas angel message for us today is, remember that a star is only as bright as those watching it, or you. So what's a star if no one's watching the star, basically? We need to look up at the stars. And the star is also symbolism of our dreams, right? Our hopes for our future. And we need to keep feeding that star, basically. We need to keep feeding those dreams and believing that they are possible. Believing in miracles. That's the big message for today. Believe in miracles because they are coming for us. That's part of God's gift for us today. Jesus wants to bless us with miracles. He was the ultimate miracle worker. And this is his season. Remember, Christmas is about celebrating Christ, the birth of baby Jesus. So this is a beautiful way to end today. I think that's all we're going to need today. And I will start now the Sambo healing session as well. We're going to get back up to my where my fireplace scene is, and we're going to do our Sambo healing session to help us to heal and release all that doesn't serve us so that we may transition into this new portal and chapter of our life for this new year to begin. Have an amazing and beautiful day. Namaste. Hello my soul family, welcome to our Sambo healing session for this full moon in Sagittarius, and to also celebrate this solar eclipse in December of 2021. My name is Christy Ramirez and I'm your health and wellness expert. I am owner of Body, Mind and Spirit, my health and wellness brand. And this is a special free event held every month for every new and full moon to help us to heal, cleanse our aura and purify. So let us begin by closing our eyes and let us just listen to this higher vibrational frequency from this gold sound bowl. Imagine gold white light, gold sprinkles of light showering over you and your aura. And this is what's going to cleanse us. It's also going to shield us, create a bubble of gold around you. And think of Jesus as well, bringing in his white healing light. And then also Archangel Metatron bringing in his violet light to bring in love, to bring in psychic awareness, healing of our third eye as well. Maybe your third eye, I feel, for many of us in the collective has been a little bit overactivated. And we kind of need to let it relax. We need to let it balance. And we do this by taking a look at my mindful meditation program. I teach you about the third eye chakra. I teach you how to sharpen your intuition, but also how to open and close your chakra, and so much more things. So definitely check out that program. You can go to christianramirez.com/meditation to take a look at that program, and also my meditation series. It's really going to help you during this time. I'm getting that specific guidance for now. And of course your yoga as well as your spiritual practice, which helps to realign all your chakra system. Very, very powerful. And is actually very underestimated because yoga is not just a physical activity. It's more of a chakra healing activity. It's a spiritual practice, what I like to call meditation and yoga. I don't consider that exercise. I consider that spiritual practice. So it's why it's a part of my daily life. And so I really recommend that you take a look at my yoga series to learn more about yoga. If you want to educate yourself more on the aspects of yoga and then help to motivate you why you should do yoga, I teach this in my Science of Yoga educational course. So you're going to definitely understand the physiology, the anatomy, more deeper into the chakras and the meridians, and why you can benefit from yoga. Very powerful. So let's begin then by closing our eyes, taking a deep inhale, and focusing as well on my fireplace and behind me, because this is going to help to burn away and release all that is not serving us, everything that feels heavy emotionally, in your mental body, and even in your physical body. Let us set the intention to release it. Let it go and just surrender to the healing that wants to take place miraculously. And this is his season. He's here with us more than ever. And he is wanting to help us to heal. Archangel Raphael is really strongly coming in as well today. And specifically, he came to me early this morning and has been helping me and guiding me as well more towards health and wellness, which is what I've been focusing on today. And I think that Archangel Raphael can really help you as well. Learn more about holistic nutrition. Take a look at my meditation. Take a look at my membership subscription program. Get access to healthy recipes, lifestyle tips, nutrition lectures to teach you more about holistic nutrition, how to make that a part of your daily life. Because this is what's definitely coming through as a strong guidance from Archangel Raphael. Setting new healthy habits through nutrition to help us to ground us to earth as well. And help us to heal more naturally and easily and gracefully. So beautiful message. Thank you, God. Thank you, angels. Let us put a smile on our face. Let us just relax and just surrender to this moment. Center yourself. I'm getting into your higher heart chakra. The higher heart chakra is in between your heart chakra and your throat chakra. And the higher heart chakra, what helps us is to help us to get more in touch with the collective and love for humanity, love for the world as a whole, not just based on one person or people in your past, present, or future, but it helps us to love humanity as a whole, which is a whole different relationship of love. This is a higher love, and this is what we're all learning. Through compassion, this is definitely being brought about by Sagittarius season, which is the humanitarian season and energy. The higher heart chakra is the one that's being activated. And what can really help to cleanse, heal, balance, and activate this chakra, which is something that I'm teaching in my future book that will be released next year, because I've had to rewrite this book, which all is for a good reason. Everything is a blessing in disguise. It's going to be done much better the second time around. But the higher heart chakra, what can help you are teal and turquoise crystals. Also color therapy, wearing those colors help you to be more of service and loving of humanity. Others as a whole, not seeing people individually for their faults or judging people individually, right? But seeing everybody as a whole. That's how Jesus lived his life, and what helped him to stay loving despite people sinning, right? He had to forgive because he loved humanity. He loved all of us because we were part of humanity. And he knew that humanity was not perfect, because guess what? That was the reason why he came down to earth, was to help humanity get better. So of course he couldn't expect to come into a perfect place, because then what would be the point of him incarnating? What would be the point of all of us light workers if there weren't sinners? So we are being asked today to actually have compassion for the sinners and forgive them because they not know what they do. Literally what Jesus said in the Bible. Forgive them for they not know any better. And when we can release ourselves from any judgment, then we are free to love, forgive, and then also teach and guide the way. Maybe that's all they need, some guidance. And maybe that's going to set them straight and put them back on their path. Or if they're new to their path, if they're just discovering their soul purpose, then you did a good deed. And that's what our purpose is as light workers. And if you're watching this, you are a light worker. Maybe you're already in the actual mission as a light worker, or maybe you're becoming one. And whatever the case may be, this message is for you. Us light workers are definitely being called strong during this Christmas season. Shine your light, be the joy. Bring the spirit of Christmas alive, because the world has lost that. Through all the tragedy that we've underwent these past year and a half, we are here to bring in this back, the hope. We are here to bring the hope alive again, or we are here to bring back the hope, right? So let us just surrender to how that's going to happen and look as well. You know, that's how I take my life. I make my plans. I have an idea of what I'm going to do the week, but you know, every day sometimes plans change. and I just do as I'm guided. Creativity sparks in the moment. I don't overthink creativity. It actually just happens in the moment. That's the magic of it. That's the beauty of it, right? And not trying to make it perfect, because the perfection is in the imperfection. The perfection is like in the first shot that you take, right? Like, let's say photographers, for example. You know, this is something that I do as well with my brands. Obviously, photography, filmography, and I'm not here reading a script or anything. I just go with how it's meant to go, because this is how the divine wants it to be. When I take photos as well, I usually use the first photos that come about in the camera. I don't overtake photos, because guess what? That's like overly draining the energy and the vibration of what you're trying to create. That's overly trying to force something that perhaps it's not meant to be. So I am pretty much a quick photo shoot taker, you can say, because I trust and I know that what is in the first few shots is the one. It's the one that's meant to be. And there's a reason for it, right? And sometimes it's the imperfect pictures that are the most perfect as well, because they tell the story and it gives more of a clear sensation of what's really happening in that photography, because that's what photos are, right? Think of like when the first camera was ever first invented, and it was actually prior to have color. It was all black and white back in the day. But the whole purpose of a camera was to record that memory, kind of like pause that moment in time and make it last forever, right? Because that's what a photo is. It's trying to make that moment come alive in a photography so that you can keep with you forever. But sadly to say, that's also part of the illusion, because photos don't last forever. That moment has become the past, the second that you take that picture. And so the only way to actually live in the moment is to literally be in the moment. And so this is a very difficult task that most humans struggle with, right? Because we're always trying to think about the future, create for the future, plan for the future. And if that's not the case, then you're wasting your time dwelling on the past, right? Or you can be reminiscing beautiful memories from the past, which is also something healthy to do, but not overly do it either, right? Because then you're stuck in an ethereal space that's not here. You're stuck in photos, you're stuck in the past. Maybe you're grieving the loss of someone from the past as well. This is something that happens during the grieving process, when people have lost someone very dear to them. And the only thing that you have left of them is their memories in their photos, in their videos, and you know, that's all that we have. And I guess that's one of the beautiful gifts that photography and film gives us now, right? Because when film was first created as well, that was one of the reasons to do it, and also to create movies and make a story come alive, right? Like script writing and making it come into life. And it's a whole different vibration than reading a book, hence reading a script and then actually watching it in your film. This is why movies are so popular today, because people want to be in that movie. People want to immerse themselves, even lose themselves in a story that's not theirs, which is called escapism. And I feel like, I think spiritual talk is continuing today, but this is part of the healing that's happening right now. You know, we hear the sound bowl healing very lightly in the background, but this is guidance that's coming through for us today. We need to be living in the moment with what's real. So whatever way this means, and the only way that something feels real is by feeling, right? Touch, feeling through emotion. So doing things that are true to our heart, passionate, this is definitely bringing in definitely human connection. Obviously we've all lost that because of what happened in 2020, but this is coming back for us. We're all gaining the freedom. Sagittarius does rule freedom, actually. So interesting that it also rules travel. So there is going to be more freedom to travel, and safely as well. You know, you're going to be guided by your angels at the right place at the right time. And this is good because we all need this. We need to get out. We need to be free, because this is what us humans are meant to be. As souls, we are all free. And in our physical body, we need to free ourselves as well. Even in our physical environment, in our space, in our life, in our situations, free yourself from anything that's tying you back, holding you down, literally keeping you constrained. Because in order to reach your fullest potential, you need to be wide, broken free from those chains, and super free, right? So this is going to require courage. But with this archer in mind, like a Cupid, the lovers have been struck by the angel Cupids, but we are also being guided to strike where we want to go in the future. Set your vision on that target and don't lose sight of that target, because that's going to be your guiding light for these next few years, this next 19-year cycle that's beginning with this ending of this full moon in Sagittarius as we step into the next new moon and into the next new year, 2022, where it's all going to be based on spiritual mission. So be prepared to your life to turn around. Whatever you thought was once in a dream and out of reach for you, guess what? Now it's all coming to you, and it's actually going to be possible. This is where dreams are finally coming true. I'm really seeing this strongly. These are stories being flipped around. People who haven't been appreciating the dreams will be living a different reality. These are like shattered realities that are coming in. And those that have been living in the clouds with their dreams are actually going to now being guided to manifest it and anchor those dreams and make it their reality. So it can go either way for wherever you're at on your journey. And it's very powerful. But definitely always keep your soul over your ego, and this will be your way out. Thank you all for joining me in the Samba healing session today. I hope that this helped to clarify what this full moon is going to bring. And let us receive this healing right now from Jesus coming into us. Let us bow our heads. Thank you, God, for bestowing this miracle healing into our life, so that we may begin a fresh new beginning, a fresh new start, a new cycle, a new story a new chapter to our storybook, and actually a whole new book to our life this new coming year. Thank you all for joining me. My name is Krista Ramirez, and I'm your health and wellness expert. Go to KristaRamirez.com/health and wellness to learn more about this brand, and I will see you all next time. Namaste.